and welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow. You're watching this special series, Leaders of Tomorrow Awards Conclave. I'm Sunanda Jaiseelan. On tonight's show, the big winners, the Startup Entrepreneur of the Year and the MSME Entrepreneur of the Year being revealed. Who got the top honors? All of those details being revealed on tonight's show. We also bring you a very fascinating conversation with the co-creator of Skype, Jonas Kjellberg. Let's quickly then move on to our next category, which is health and wellness. In 2018, the global wellness economy's value was nearly $4.5 trillion, and the industry itself, between 2015 to 2017, has grown nearly twice that of global growth. Let's take a look at the nominees in the health and wellness category.
Let's take a look at the nominees in the health and wellness category. Health and Wellness Startup of the Year, Comfort Grid Technologies, Health Wheels, Interlink Dawa Mandi. And the winner in the Health and Wellness category is Health Wheels.
I think on the top of the moon. First of all, I like to thank everyone at ET, my investors who have invested in us, and especially the customers who used our services. I think without them, this victory won't have been possible.
Okay, before we move on, I have a complaint. Yaar, this is Dilwalo Ki Dilli. I'm sure you can clap louder than this. I know we've spent 18 months doing virtual webinars and virtual awards, and we've, I don't know, been using the clapping emoticon or the thumbs up emoticon on Zoom. So can we please have a round, like physical round, loud round of applause? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Let's move on quickly to our next category, which is consumer tech and e-commerce. Now, obviously, again, big data plays a role in creating personalized experiences, and augmented reality has been a complete game changer for e-commerce. In 2019, it was predicted that 100 million consumers will shop using AR by 2021. So there's definitely big growth in this sector. Let's take a look at some of the nominees in the consumer tech and e-commerce sector.
Let's take a look at the nominees in the Consumer Tech and E-commerce category. Consumer Tech and E-commerce Startup of the Year, Isle Network, Pahia Services, Orify Systems. And the winner in the Consumer Tech and E-commerce category is Orify Systems.
I'd like to invite up on stage founder and director of Orify Systems, Rishi Palekar, as he comes up on stage to receive the award. Congratulations, and his colleague.
It's an excellent initiative, taken by the organizers, and thanks to the jury for, kind of shortlisting us, getting us chance to, showcase our capabilities, and finally giving us due credit in terms of, choosing us as winners in this category.
Let's quickly talk about our next segment, EdTech and skill development. Sumit, you were talking about Zoom meetings.
Yeah.
We are fortunate that we don't have to switch on cameras or mics when we're doing Zoom meetings, but for students who are studying and have to be, are studying online, they don't have that privilege. So congratulations to everyone who's been studying online this year, and we're talking about the EdTech and skill development category. Let's quickly take a look at the nominees in EdTech and skill development.
Let's take a look at the nominees in the EdTech and Skill Development category. EdTech and Skill Development Startup of the Year, Kachwa Solutions, Sahyadri Edu Dreamers R&D. And the winner in the EdTech and Skill Development category is Kachwa Solutions.
Could I please call up on stage the director of Kachwa Solutions, Vijay Thakkar. He's coming up on stage to receive his award.
Really, it is fantastic because when we are recognized, it gives us easy way to reach to our customer, and it creates credibility for us.
Next category, very important one, energy and environment. Now, the leading countries around the globe that have installed renewable energy in 2020, the leading countries were China, US, and Brazil. China was leading, of course, in the renewable energy installation with a capacity of around 895 gigawatts. Yes, India Not that ahead, but we are catching up with great speed, and a lot is happening in that sector right here at home. So let's take a look at the nominees in this category.
Let's take a look at the nominees in the Energy and Environment category. Energy and Environment Startup of the Year, HYDROTEC Solutions, EF Polymer, and the winners in the Energy and Environment category are HYDROTEC Solutions and EF Polymer.
Yes, we have two winners here. I'll call them up one by one. It was a tie. It was tough for the jury to decide, and they were that close. So we have a tie. So again, in no particular order, because they both are equal winners. But first up on stage, I'd like to invite EF Polymer, Mr. Puran. He's the director at EF Polymer. If we can have you on stage to receive your trophy. Loud round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, please. Thank you.
I really feel great. I would like to congratulate, first of all, my whole team who worked really hard to bring us to that level, and a special thanks to the Times of India that organized this award.
Now we'd like to invite our other winner in this category. This is HYDROTEC Solution. I'd like to invite Mr. Naveen Gupta, director of the company, to receive his award.
Yeah, this is of course very refreshing, especially after the COVID lockdown. So, getting this award is really, refreshing and motivating at the same time.
Let's talk about the FinTech category. Now, many of you may not know, but we've had Paytm as one of our first winners when we were doing our first season of the Leaders of Tomorrow Awards and Conclave. Let's then talk about how FinTech has really disrupted the payments industry, and let's take a look at our nominees and our winner in this category.
Let's take a look at the nominees in the FinTech category. FinTech Startup of the Year, Extra Cap FinTech India, RDL Technologies. And the winner in the FinTech category is RDL Technologies.
Could I call founder, director, CEO of the company, Raghavendra Ji Shetty, please come up on stage to receive your award.
Our next category is service delivery. Unmistakably fueled by the global pandemic, online food delivery is now a colossal industry in its own right. Retail delivery, the orders have risen by about 26%, and we can clearly see how, well, one of the biggest food delivery companies, Zomato, did with its IPO. Let's take a look at the nominees in this category.
Let's take a look at the nominees in the service delivery category. Service Delivery Startup of the Year, Big Mint Technologies, Port Flip Ventures, Sundara Vijayam Automobile Services. And the winner in the Service Delivery category is Big Mint Technologies.
I'd like to invite up on stage Neeraj Parikh from Big Mint Technologies to come up to receive the company's award. Round of applause.
So we are very thankful to ET now for choosing us as one of the awardee, and I'm sure that this will definitely boost our as well as our team morale, and this will help us perform better.
Let's move on to our next category, and this is gaming. Sumit, I'm assuming that you and I don't fit in the demographic that the gaming industry appeals to, but it has been doing very well for itself. In fact, we've seen the first IPO by a gaming company ever this year.
Absolutely.
With that, let's take a look at the nominee and the winner for gaming.
Gaming Startup of the Year. And the winner in the gaming category is ABRACADABRA Software Solutions.
A round of applause as we have the CEO of the company, Vaibhav Mahajan, walking up on stage. Congratulations, Vaibhav. And a round of applause for him.
I'm really excited to receive this award. It's a great initiative by ET Now and whole economic groups. It's a privilege, to stand along with the line of Paytm, and Make My Trip CEOs, which have received in earlier.
Let's move on to our next category, food tech. According to a report by Google and Boston Consulting Group, India's online food ordering market is expected to grow at a CAGR rate of between 25 to 30% to touch about 7.5 to 8 billion by 2022. That is a huge, huge market, and it's great for a number of these online food companies that have come up over the last few years. Let's take a look at the nominees in this category.
Let's take a look at the nominees in the Food Tech category. Food Tech Startup of the Year, Ixia Foods, Being Chef, Nature Up Food and Beverages. And the winner in the Food Tech category is Nature Up Food and Beverages.
I'd like to invite up on stage the co-founder and managing director of Nature Up Food and Beverages, Anthony Patdan. Anthony, if you can have you on stage, and congratulations to you and the entire team. Round of applause.
Of course, very elated actually. I'm very happy. I'm really surprised, and thank you so much to the ET Now and for All Times Network for supporting us and for selecting us for this award. It's like a very booster dose for all our startups in the even this amidst all this COVID situation. I think it's a great booster dose for us.
Let's slip into a short commercial break. Then on that note, on this special Awards and Conclave series, we are back in just a moment. Welcome back. You're with us here on Leaders of Tomorrow, and the special series is the Leaders of Tomorrow Awards and Conclave, bringing you all of the highlights from our award ceremony in this episode.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is not the end of this gala evening because we've announced our winners, we've honored them, we've felicitated them, but we have one very, very special session coming up right now. This is something that we call, you could say this is something that we call the LOT Red Carpet, and it's on the theme of digital transformation, disruption and innovation. And who better to speak about digital transformation than the co-creator of a software that has helped us communicate better in this time. I'm talking about our esteemed guest who's joining us right now, the co-creator of Skype, Jonas Kjellberg, and he's joining us virtually on Skype, of course. Mr. Kjellberg, you know, one of the things that I know you like to talk about is about failure. And it's an interesting concept, especially when you're talking to entrepreneurs. Now, the important difference here in India is that failure is frowned upon. Yes, it's changing. It's changing a lot, thankfully for that. But how do you tackle a failure, and why is it such an interesting topic for you?
Well, I think for me, I think a lot of people go around in Europe and the US and say that you should embrace failure. I think it's a very stupid to embrace failure and embrace mistakes. For me, I love taking risks. And if you take quite a lot of risk, you know, the desired outcomes are not always as planned. So I think for me, I hate failures, but I love taking risk. And I try to do everything to circumvent that I can actually make it, but I love taking big risks. And I think that is different from embracing failure. So I would say go out and take risks, but also understand that if you play, you know, everything on one number in the roulette, you will not always win. And I try to do that, but then I want to win big. So for me, it's more about willing to take risks than embracing failure. Because if you know that you're taking quite a lot of risk, you also know you're not going to win every time. So I think that is how I play it. So I don't embrace failures, but I'm willing to take a lot of risk. And when I know that, then we also know that the desired outcome will not always be that as we hope for.
Fantastic. Sunanda, do you have some questions for Mr.
Absolutely,
Kjellberg?
and Jonas, that's so important because, you know, we speak with entrepreneurs all the time, and this, the mindset of being allowed to fail, if I can call it that, for Indian entrepreneurs, that's still not there, and that's one of the challenges that a lot of our entrepreneurs tell us. As you might be aware, our audience is comprised of entrepreneurs, and they've sent us these questions. Our next question is asking you what your favorite part of the startup experience has been.
Well, I think for me, being, you know, a founder and started so many companies in my life, and written everything from books to started 40, 50 companies, sold a couple of them to Yahoo, and eBay and so on. I think what I really enjoy is that getting that product market fit and that first scaling of that business model. That's where I really thrive. Because how can you rebuild your product to sell more, lower the price, your customer acquisition cost goes down, rethinking all your parts together with the client, but then also really also thinking, okay, how do we go global from day one? How can we actually accelerate this? How do we create an exponential user journey? I think that is where I really, really enjoy it.
Yep, that's great to know, Mr. Kjellberg. One thing that I want to talk to you about is, and I'll just read it out to you, it feels like if you go and look back at all the big seismic shifts we've had in industry, there were some massive disruptions that happened. So do you feel that's an additional key to the success of businesses, to have a disruptive idea? Is that really integral?
Well, I think there's a lot of things that go on. I think it's always easier if you can follow some kind of trend, and I think there's going to be a lot of different perspective. I think that's why I'm doing things in the real estate industry now with a subscription perspective, because I believe that the pandemic has allowed working from anywhere. We need to change a lot of things, and renting out furniture is just a very small part of that total shift with, what is value creation? How do you work from anywhere? We're going to have a flatter world. I think, this pandemic is going to be the best that ever happened to India, because now you can actually level the playing field into all other major cities. So if you have talent, you can work anywhere in the world anymore. So I think this is, a fantastic opportunity for the rest of the world to catch up.
Jonas, our show is called Leaders of Tomorrow because we're speaking with the small businesses who will become the big ones of tomorrow. And our next question wants you to elaborate on how to adapt and succeed in the business world of tomorrow.
Well, I think for me, this is built on three things. One is build the best product ever there so you can actually outcompete competition. I think that have that in mind. Don't do something which is just a little bit better. Do something that is radically much better and have the guts to believe in it. Second, innovate in your business model. Where can you take out cost? Go through your total P&L and say, instead of saying how do we lower the cost, because a lot of people think how do we lower the cost, how do we take out cost? Make it zero. Be like we did at Skype. No, we're not going to have our own servers. We're going to use someone else's. We're going to do this. We're going to rip out and make everything to zero. So be manic about your cost side and not just lowering the cost side, make it zero. No customer service. No, let's make it impossible to call Skype. I don't care. So really, really, really think about the cost side. And then the third parameter is how do you drive sales? Because 100% of revenue comes through sales. And how do you innovate that? Also, Skype's an example. We went medieval. We started sending mails without asking the client and having a software sending that mail. Today you could say that that's not allowed. You cannot do that. But the product was so good. So no one really complained that we actually sent the mail because you clicked on that button and then you didn't really understand that you just sent 100 mails. So that was a way to innovate in sales, which, pushing the boundaries. But, we had nothing to lose at Skype.
Fantastic. Well, just the last couple of questions for you. You were talking about the real estate industry and how you're disrupting it. And real estate, of course, is a huge, huge sector in India. Any other industry that you think is ripe for disruption right now?
Well, I think the whole consulting industry in the Western world everything where you're paying people by the hour is about to be disrupted because those business models are dead. So I think that is an interesting perspective. How do you create value creation out of that? Because if we cannot measure that people are working an hour to get output, then you're only measuring output. So it doesn't matter how you work, how much time you're putting in. So I think that's going to be the biggest disruption the next 10, 15 years, according to me.
Okay, I think we have time for just one last question from our audience. And this one is asking you, what is the marketing challenge with Skype?
I think the marketing challenge, again, with Skype was that initially we had no clients, we had no customers, no users, no marketing, and the service is really bad if there's no one to call because you both need the client. So I think that was, so the major pivotal effect was this kind of email marketing scam that we put together, and that including a lot of PR that you could call for free was one of the things. But again, everybody laughed at us when I 15 years ago said that everyone's going to have a Skype client or something similar on their cell phone. And people said, no, we're going to have fixed line phones, today I think, you have 10 different voice over IP clients, everything WhatsApp, Facebook, Messenger, all of these different services today have telephony clients. And again, Skype today is purchased by Microsoft, killed as a brand, and now part of NetMeeting. Just shows, that you sometimes overestimate how much can be done in 2 years, but you underestimate how drastically things change in 10 years.
Absolutely, and that I think Bill Gates also had a similar famous comment. Thank you so much, Mr. Kjellberg, for that. Ladies and gentlemen, Jonas Kjellberg, let's give him a huge round of applause. Thank you so much. We are hoping maybe at the next summit you will join us in person here in India. But thank you so much for your time and have a great day.
All right, so that caps then the 5-part series of our Leaders of Tomorrow Awards and Conclave special series. Many congratulations to our winners once again. It's richly deserved. That's all the time that we have on today's episode. Thanks for watching.